You know that feeling when you walk into a sports bar and there's just a wall of TVs, maybe 12 screens, all showing the game, all perfectly in sync. I was wondering about the wiring. I mean, it must be absolute chaos behind the wall.
The spaghetti monster, yeah. It's a real problem.
Exactly. How do you take one single cable line and feed, say, 12 different screens without the whole thing turning into a snowy, pixelated mess?
And that's the thing. People try to solve it the wrong way. They'll just daisy chain those cheap plastic splitters from the hardware store.
Ooh, I've done that.
It's a recipe for signal degradation. Today, we're looking at how the pros do it, specifically with the Thor broadcast H-SP1x12-RM.
It's a bit of a mouthful, but our mission for this deep dive is to get past that model number and really understand what's going on with high-density signal distribution. Because, when I was digging into this, I realized it's doing something much smarter than I expected.
Right. On the surface, it's a rack-mountable metal-encased unit. It looks industrial because it is. You plug your main antenna or cable TV line in.
And you get 12 outputs?
12 outputs, yeah. All using standard F-type connectors.
So F-type. Those are just the normal screw-on connectors everyone has on their cable box, right?
The very same. So even though this is what you'd call commercial grade, it's totally compatible with a normal home setup.
Okay, so here's where the aha moment hit me. I assumed this was just a one-way street. Signal comes in, it splits up, it goes out to the TVs. Simple. But the spec sheet calls it a passive bidirectional device.
That is the secret sauce.
What does that actually mean?
It means it's also what we call an RF mixer. So yes, it can split one signal to 12 screens, but because it's passive and bidirectional, you can literally reverse the flow.
You can?
Yep, you can take signals from different sources and actually combine them onto a single line.
So it's a splitter and a combiner that changes things.
It's a huge deal in terms of flexibility.
But there's always a trade-off, right? Physics demands a price. I noticed this specific 12-way model operates between 5 and 1,000 megahertz.
Good catch. That's an important distinction. If you look at Thor's smaller splitters, like the 2- or 4-way ones, they go all the way up to 2,100 megahertz.
So why does the bigger unit have less bandwidth?
It really comes down to port density. I mean, when you're splitting a signal 12, 16, or even 24 ways, keeping that signal integrity at super high frequencies gets incredibly difficult.
Okay, that makes sense.
So the 5 to 1,000 megahertz range is really the sweet spot. It covers all your standard cable TV and antenna signals. For distributing cable to a whole building, that's exactly what you need.
Speaking of signal integrity, we have to talk about insertion loss. The spec sheet lists it at negative 12.5 dB. I mean, that sounds like a pretty big tax on the signal.
It is, but it's a mathematical certainty. You can't slice a pie 12 ways and expect the pieces to be the same size as the whole pie,
Right.
That negative 12.5 dB loss is just the signal power being divided.
So practically speaking, if my signal coming in from the street is already a little weak and I plug it into this,
you're going to have a problem at the TVs, definitely. You have to budget for that loss. In a lot of pro setups, you'd pair this with an amplifier before the input.
So you boost the signal first, knowing it's about to get split.
You boost it loud enough to survive the split. Exactly.
Got it. Okay, one last feature that seemed kind of boring at first, but now feels critical, is the grounding block.
Never, ever skip the grounding block.
Really?
Absolutely. Think about it. In a big rack or even in your home, a power surge or a nearby lightning strike needs a safe place to go. This gives it a path to the ground.
And if you don't have it?
Well, the path of least resistance might be right through all 12 of your very expensive 4K televisions.
Ouch. So it's basically an insurance policy built right into the chassis. And for a price around $225 on sale, that seems like pretty cheap insurance.
For sure. Plus, Thor Direct puts a 2-year warranty on it, and so they really stand behind the build quality.
So to sum it up, we have this simple-looking metal box that basically brings order to the chaos. It turns that rat's nest of wires into a clean, structured, and safe system.
It does the heavy lifting, so you don't get that snowy picture. Precisely.
But I'm still stuck on that combiner function. That's the part that really opens things up. If this thing works in reverse, it means you're not just limited to consuming what the cable company sends you. You can combine signals onto that one coax line.
That's the provocative part, yeah.
So could you run your own internal TV channel? Like what if you piped in a security camera feed or a digital menu for a restaurant and mixed it right in with all the standard channels so it's available on every TV in the building?
You absolutely could.
It really changes the coax cable from just a delivery pipe into your own private broadcast network. Something to think about.